Ahead of your return to the octagon after over 18 months out, Julio Arce,
Oh
how
my God, dude, I cannot wait.
I had a little look at your Wikipedia page earlier, and I was so surprised you haven't been in there since UFC 244, Masvidal versus Diaz. That feels a lifetime away.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, there was a couple of ups and downs there. A lot of them had to do with I had to get double elbow surgery because I couldn't fully extend my arms. So my arms were stuck like this, and I couldn't extend them at all. So I had to get that fixed up, and it was something that was it was affecting my training, and it was affecting like how I would fight as well. Because then if I can't reach my opponent, I have to compensate, and I'm putting myself in danger, which leads me to getting hit more. So had to get that taken care of. So that put me out for a little bit. But I'm just glad that's over. I was supposed to fight in February, but then COVID hit, and apparently I didn't match the COVID protocols, so they had to cancel my fight. So shit happened, but we're on again.
Out of interest, though, I'll ask it plainly. How difficult has this time off been? This 18-month period or so?
You know what? Being out for 18 months, it was actually a good thing because I got to, as I said, repair my arms. At the same time, focus on implementing other things into my game and things that I can make better. Yeah. So then when I return to the cage, it's like I have a new arsenal that I can use. So it was a time for like a reinvention process for me, which I think it worked out the way it worked out. So it's all good stuff.
Yeah. Well, just very quickly, as you mentioned there, originally scheduled in February against Timur Valiev, and can I just ask what your thoughts were on that matchup, and if that's a fight you're still interested in?
Yeah, look, if it happens. He's probably further up in the ranks since he just beat Ronnie Barcelos.
Yep.
So I don't know. I don't know where they're at with that. I don't know where he stands. I don't know where. I'm just starting my journey at bantamweight again.
Yep.
So I don't know where I'm gonna stand, after this fight. So, but hey, look, the fight happens. The fight happens.
Talk to me a little bit about that as well. Why making this move down to bantamweight now, and why now specifically?
Honestly, I moved up in weight because back when I was in ring combat, like in the regional circuit, I didn't have I think the cutting weight part was a little rough on me. But now that I have a team gathered, that's why I'm going back to bantamweight. But also, when I moved to featherweight, I didn't want to cut weight, and then I was doing fine. I held my own in the UFC against 45ers, but these guys are just too big for me. Yeah. Like you can clearly see in some of my fights that I'm clearly the smaller guy, frame wise, height wise it depends, but frame wise I'm the smaller person in there.
A little bit of a tweener, Julio. Correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe a very big bantamweight and a slightly undersized featherweight.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. Exactly. Yeah. So it's like I'm kind of like in that in between stage. So I'm like, let me go to bantamweight. Let me, do everything right and let's take a crack at it. I mean, I did great. I felt great at bantamweight, and now it's like, I did fine in featherweight. Instead, I held my own, but these guys are getting too freaking big. So I'm just like, you know what? Let me go back. Let me go to bantamweight and let's restart the journey there.
Have you had a test cut out of interest, and if so, how has that gone?
Can you say that again?
Have you had a test cut? Have you tried to make the bantamweight limit or get close lately or anything like that?
Yeah. My body definitely remembers that cut the bantamweight. So right now going through it, just going about it a very methodical way. I have Eric Pena, who helps a lot of the UFC fighters make weight. He's been on my nutrition about it, making sure that I'm eating the right stuff. So then, I make weight without trying to suffer like crazy. Either way it sucks because you got to cut weight, but, just doing it the right way.
Superb. Well, let's talk about this fight, 24th of July, your bantamweight debut in the UFC versus Andre Ewell. And I'd just like to ask how you see this as a style matchup, what you think of Ewell as an upcoming opponent.
You know what? Ewell's a very crafty guy. I've seen some of his fights, very very well-rounded. More very striking based. But who knows? Like in a fight, anybody can change anything up at any moment. So it's like you got to be ready for everything, and that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be a fireworks. It's gonna be a scrap, and I'm hoping I want to steal the show that night.
I'll ask you a twofold question, and the second part might be tougher than the first. But biggest advantage you feel you hold over Andre Ewell?
I think is the conditioning aspect of it. Like I said, it depends. We all had. I feel like I've been in fight camp since I was supposed to fight Timur. So, I've been at it for a while now. But said, who knows? That's always been my biggest advantage, and just the conditioning to be able to just keep going.
Yeah.
Despite any how the match is going, I just keep coming.
And I'll ask you the second part, which is slightly more difficult, and you might be more reserved on this, but what's an advantage you feel Andre Ewell perhaps holds over you?
You know what? They always throw at me these tall guys. I always get the freaking tall guys. Like, Andre Ewell's he's tall, he's lanky, he probably knows how to keep his range really well. I think I know you saw when I fought Julian Rosa, freaking 6'1" dude at 45. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like everybody thought it's so goddamn tall. But look, he's got the length, he's got footwork, but look, we're gonna go in there and it's gonna be a fight, and we're gonna take it everywhere.
Superb. And let's just quickly touch on your team, Tiger Schulmann's fight camp. Am I right in saying, is that the name of the gym?
Yeah, Tiger Schulmann. Yeah, Tiger Schulmann's MMA.
Yeah, Tiger Schulmann's MMA. And correct me if I'm wrong, Julio, but you guys as a gym, considering what you guys are doing and all the names coming out of there, you don't really seem to get the respect as one of the big spots in the gym. Do you feel like that? And is there perhaps a reason why?
You know what? It's always been like that for us because even back before we put fighters were put in the UFC, I think people just viewed us as a mech dojo. That's what they thought of us, But other places they were just mad because we evolved. You know what I mean? Like look, some places are still doing certain martial arts that you're just like, that's just not gonna work. We evolved from that. We adapted to learning jiu-jitsu, to learning, the boxing, wrestling aspects of it. We went from karate to now being martial arts. And people can't stand it that, yeah, we're all over the place, but you know what? We're freaking legitimate. We're legitimate martial arts. And then when people we'll go to boxing gyms, we'll go to jiu-jitsu competitions, and our students do amazing. Our fighters do amazing. Like our amateurs, they'll do amazing. But it's like people just can't get a grasp on it that we are a legitimate martial arts school until they're facing us. Until they're like, yo, you guys are, you guys are legit. And till this very day, I think people have gotten more respect out of it. But it's still at that point where like some other people will be like, oh yeah, they're all right. Like, no, just come to our gym and you'll see. So it's always been like that. I feel like everyone always views us like that, but you know what? To me, I don't care because like our hard work shows it. We got 5, 6 fighters in the UFC. We got a bunch of amateurs who are up and coming. It's like just wait. Like and we thought we were just starting with the us in the UFC. It's like just wait. We have more people just emerging. So you'll see. It's gonna be, people are gonna be like, yo, these guys are the real deal. We'll just keep showing it through our hard work.
And you guys as well, you always have the similarities of well-conditioned, well-trained, always got a good game plan and well-trained throughout all aspects of martial art, through the striking right the way through to the grappling.
Yeah. We do it. We're doing it all. We're putting ourselves in every discipline. Boxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu. I mean, you freaking name it. And like, we'll go in there and we adapt. We learn. Like, we absorb the knowledge that we're getting from doing it. Like look, for me, like I did the New York City Golden Gloves tournament, which is one of the biggest boxing tournaments in the city. And I won the Golden Gloves in 2011. Now, did people think I was gonna win? No, because they thought, oh, this MMA guy, he don't know how to box. And then guess what happened? I ended up winning the gloves. I remember the first day I went in there, one of the coaches, I was at the Daily News building, was like, "Oh, you're an MMA guy? Oh, good luck." He's like, "You're not gonna make it far." Exactly his words. What happened? I fought his guy in the finals, and I beat his guy. And I was like, he was just quiet. And I'm like, yeah, it's like don't underestimate us because we're a martial arts school, because we do MMA and we don't do pure boxing. It was like, no, we know how to box. We know how to kickbox. We know how to do jiu-jitsu. We know how to do MMA. It's like, don't underestimate us.
Having said what I've just said about being well trained in all aspects of martial arts, the vast majority of you guys out of that camp are strikers. When we think about it, Shane is predominantly a striker. Jimmy, I would say, is predominantly a boxer. Lyman Good, more so a stand-up fighter as well. So, do you think there is a striking a sense towards the striking, or do you think that's just the way some fights have played out?
Look, since we all have a game plan, some fights are striking based. Some fights, we have to take down to the ground. I think it just depends on like how the fight goes. Most of the time, we get people who are just like straight up jiu-jitsu or wrestlers. So their striking foundation is not like ours. We've been doing it for like either 15 plus years or 20 plus years. So that's where like, we have a huge advantage of, and people are going to have to, we make them want to take us down. And that's where like, our takedown defense is. I mean, look at Jimmy Rivera. He has like 99 point some like takedown defense average. And that shows it. Striking is so freaking clean. And then when people try to take him down, they can't. He knows how to defend, but if he has to go down to the ground, he submitted people before. So it's with all of us. Like, we have a ground game. Look at Shane when he fought in New York City. He fought Kurt Hellbaugh.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry if I butchered his name, but he caught him in an armbar. Yeah, like he got rocked, and then when Kurt tried to jump on him, Shane armbarred. So it's like we have a ground game.
Yeah.
It's just that our striking is there, so we can throw them off in the striking. We have to go down to the ground if we have to.
Super. Something I wanted to touch on, Julio, as well, is you mentioned about fighting some of the guys at featherweight, and your only 2 losses in the UFC have come via split decision. Is the particular lessons you think you've learned from them close decision losses that you can put forward into the rest of your career?
Yeah, you know what? I look at those fights, and when I rewatch them over and over and over, it's like there was points where like I felt that I myself played into kind of their game more, but there's stuff that I could have done better. There's stuff I could have executed more, but I just didn't. And like I learned from that. And there's other little like things that of course like you have to really like watch it. Like I sit with my coaches and I watch in detail, and like they dissect everything. They'll be like this, and that, and I look at it and I'm like, wow, like there's so much that I learned from them, and so much that I learned from watching them that I could do so much better, where then it wouldn't end up so close into the judges, hands.
Is it in any way more bitter, it being a split decision, the fact that one of them 3 judges has given it your way, and that it was right there for the taking at all?
Yeah. And also it's like, I mean, one of them, I think the fact that I was just covered in blood.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of swayed them, but I was like, all right, that was close. The other one, it was just like, it was like a solid style matchup. It was just, it was just super close. I could have done more. I thought it's like, I don't sometimes when split decisions are like that, I take a look at myself about what I can do better, what I should have done more of, because then maybe it would have went my way.
Yeah. I suppose in a way, correct me if I'm wrong, but a split decision, with it being so close, you obviously had success and you obviously had areas to improve on. So it's that nice balance between what you've done well and as you mentioned, the improvements you can make watching the tape back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with and the thing is with fights like that, like it's so close where it's like, okay, this it also I kind of let people know. So I'm a hard style matchup.
Yeah.
Like I'm not an easy fight for them because they all look. In one of my fights I got rocked twice. I just came back. I'm coming back. Like I ain't fucking going down like that. Another one, the guy said he was gonna be the first one to knock me out, but it's like we just kept going, and like see this person come to like, oh shit, man, this guy's he's not easy to put away.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's like a lot of lessons just learned from those fights. I keep looking at them like, how much better can I get from it?
Yeah. And of course, the focus is on the 24th now, and well, obviously the prime focus is Andre Ewell next Saturday. But what I would like to ask you, Julio, is assuming you get this win at the end of the month, where do you see yourself in the next 12-month period? What do you want to accomplish by, let's say, the end of June 2022?
You know what? By June, I'm looking to be either in the top 15 or top 10, and then work my way up. I want to work my way up to a title fight, and it's a road there. It's a road to get there because you got some of us might have to fight like 7 times to get there. Some of us might have to fight, less, but it's a journey to get there. So I have to just put in the work, freaking get in there, put on exciting fights, fight my fight, and get those wins and climb up the ranks.
Most people would argue that bantamweight is a more stacked division than featherweight. So was there any reservation moving down to bantamweight, thinking that it might take longer to get into the title picture?
You know what? I think the title picture will come in on itself. I just got to keep showing up and putting the work. That's it. It is a stacked division, and it's a little bit of a mess of what's going on at the top of it, and also rankings wise, because like there's so many unranked, very skilled bantamweights.
Yeah.
But how rankings are. They're all over the place. You got people who are who haven't won a fight in a while, but they're still in like the top 10 because of their status and like the fights that they had. But then you got some people who are unbelievable who are not. So it's all over the place. But I just want to fucking win my fights, get in there, fight my fight, and just really, give it all I got. Give it all I got.
Well, let's circle back to the fight at hand, 24th, Andre Ewell. And Julio, for one final question on this fight, I would like to ask you for a prediction. How do you see this fight playing out with Andre Ewell?
You know what? This fight can go either way, but I just see myself with my hand raised, the victory at the end. It's going to be a scrap. It's going to be fireworks, and it's going to be a very interesting fight, especially in the return to bantamweight.
Yeah, of course. Well, there's so many factors. Your return to competition, you're moving back down to 135, and I very much thank you for your time and can't wait to see you back in action next Saturday.
Thank you, my man. Thank you for having me.
The pleasure is all mine. Before we finish, Julio, how can people find you on social media?
You guys can find me at Julio Arce 89 on Instagram, JRCTSMMA on Twitter, and just appreciate all of you for the support. My sponsors, everybody, my coaches, my team, Tiger Schulmann, who've been now going on to 20 years of training with them from start, from being a fat chubby kid to where I am now. So much love to everybody.
Good way to end. Great speaking to you today, Sensei Arce.
My man, thank you.